Good morning. Today we are going to classify conic sections. On the last four sections, we've been talking about the four different type of conic sections. We have a circle, an ellipse, a parabola, and a hyperbola. And they all deal with the cone. If you take and slice the cone in different ways, you end up with the four different type of conic sections. Today we are going to classify those conic sections. We are going to be having an equation that's now in standard form. So it's not any of those four equations that we have covered. So if you guys remember, the equations that we have covered so far look like this for an ellipse, or a circle, a parabola, or a hyperbola. We need to be able to recognize what type of shape we are working with. So we're going to be using this flowchart to be able to determine what type of shape we are dealing with. So we're going to start here, and each diamond, that's a decision that you need to make. That'll be a question. So let's go and start. If both x's and y are square, you continue to the next question. If only one of them is square, the x or the y, then that'll be a problem. If they both are square, the x and the y, then does x square and y square have the same sign? Are they both positive or both negative? If they are different signs, then it's a hyperbola. So if they both are square and they have different signs, not the same, then it's a hyperbola. If they both are square, they're both positive, both negative, do they have the same coefficient? If they have different coefficients, then that's an ellipse. So that's if they're both square, both positive or both negative, different coefficients, is an ellipse. If they both are square, the same sign, both positive, both negative, and they have the same coefficient, it is a circle. So I want you guys to take a few minutes to be able to determine what is the conic section of each of the equations. So go and pause it and see if you can determine the conic section that each equation represents. Great. So for the first one, I start, and remember, I'm only dealing with whatever it's been squared. So I'm only dealing with the x and y. I don't care about anything else. So on the first one, we have 6x squared minus 2y squared. So are the x and y, are both the x and the y squared? Yes. X squared and y squared have the same sign? No. One of them is negative, positive, the other one's negative, so automatically this is a hyperbola. Let's go on to the next one. I only focusing my attention to the ones that are square, the x squared and the y squared. Both x and y are squared? Yes. So I continue. Do they have the same sign? In this case, they both are positive, so yes. Do they have the same coefficient? Yes, the coefficient for this is 1, and for the coefficient for this one is 1, so yes, so it is a circle. Let's go into letter C. I'm only looking at the ones that are square. In this case, it's only the y square. Both x and y are square? No. Only the y. So this is a parabola. Let's go into the next one. I'm only looking at the ones that are square. The variables that are square and its coefficients. Are they both x and y squared? Yes. Do they have the same sign? In this case, they both are positive, so yes. Do they have different coefficients? This is a 4, this is a 1, so that's a no. So in this case, this is a ellipse. Letter E. Are they both square? Yes. Do they have the same sign? They both have positive, so yes. Do they have the same coefficient? No, this is a 9 and this is a 4, so this is an ellipse as well. Next problem. We only have the x squared. Are they both square? No, only the x is square, so this is a parabola. I'm looking at the x and y square. Are the x and y square? Yes, they both are square. Do you have the same sign? Yes, this is a positive and that's a positive. Do you have the same coefficient? Yes, they both have 8s. So that's a circle. H. I'm looking at the x square and the negative y square. Are they both square? Yes, the x and the y are square. Do they have the same sign? No, this is a positive, that's a negative, so this is a hyperbola. Now, once we have recognized what type of shape it is, we want to be able to rewrite it in the correct standard form. So let's look at example number 2. It says, write the standard form of the Conic equation. So we need to be able to rewrite it in standard form. So the first thing that we want to do, we want to be able to recognize what type of shape is it. So let's see. They both are square, so it's not parabola. They have the same sign, so it's not hyperbola. And they have the same coefficient, so it's a circle. This is the standard form of a circle, so once we finish, your final equation should look something like this. Now to place it in standard form, we're going to be completing the square twice, on most cases. So make sure you write small because it's a little longer process than usual. We are going to group our x's together. That'll be x squared minus 10x. I'm going to leave some space. I'm going to group my y's together, so it'll be plus y squared minus 4y. I'm going to leave some space. And I want to be able to move my number to the right hand side, so that becomes a negative 4. Now I want to complete the square. So I'm going to take half of 10 is 5, and then you square it. This should be 25. So you take half of this number, and then you square it. So we positive 25. And what I do on one side, I need to do to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take half of 4, which is negative 2, and then you square it, it'll be positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. I'm going to add plus 4 on the other side as well. What I do on one side, I need to do to the other side. I'm going to go and factor this out. Double parenthesis, factors of x squared will be x and x. Factors of 25 will be 5 and 5, and they both have to be negative, so they can add up to negative 10x. Double parenthesis, there'll be plus in between. Factors of y squared will be y and y. Factors of 4 will be 2 and 2, and they both have to be negative. And this will be equal to 25. This gives 0, so we just end up with 25. Because we have two of them exactly the same and they're multiplying, so we can just rewrite it as x minus 5 squared. There are two of them, so we can rewrite it as y minus 2 squared. And that will be equal to 25. Remember, this is the equation of a circle, so this is what you're going to end up with. This will be your final answer. Let's continue with example number 3. We want to be able to rewrite it on standard form, so we first need to be able to identify what type of conic section this represents. So let's see, they both are square, so it's not a parabola. They both are positive, so it's not a hyperbola. and they have different coefficient, so this is an ellipse. And now I'm going to go through the same process I did here. I'm going to go and group my x's together. That'll be x squared plus 10x. I'm going to leave some space to complete my square. I'm going to group my y's together, 9y squared plus 18y. I'm going to leave some space to complete the square. And I'm going to go and bring my 25 to the right, or just minus 25 on both sides, and that becomes a negative 25. Now I can complete my square in here. So half of 10 is 5, positive 5 you square is positive 25. And what I do on one side, I need to do to the other side, positive 25. I have a problem. I cannot complete the square in here. You can only complete the square if there's no leading coefficient, or just a leading coefficient of positive 1. It has to be positive 1. It cannot be positive 9. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out a 9 from those two. So let me rewrite it. This gives me x plus 10, x squared plus 10x plus 25. I'm going to factor a positive 9 from there. So that way we will have just y squared, and we can complete the square. 9 times what is 18, that will be positive 2y. I'm going to leave some space, and that's equal to 0. 25 minus 25 is 0. Now I'm going to complete the square in here. I'm going to take half of this number, which is 2, and then I'm going to square it. Half of 2 is 1, and I'm going to square it, will be positive 1. And what I do on one side, I need to do to the other side, but this 1 is being multiplied by the 9. So 9 times 1 is positive 9. We just didn't add just 1. This 1 is being multiplied by the 9. So if you go backwards, that gives you 9y squared, 18y, and that should have been a positive 9. That came from here. So we actually added 9 on this side. So you have to add 9. So if you take out a coefficient, you take out a number, factor a number, you want to be able to multiply once you complete the square to add it to the other side. I'm now going to factor this out, double parenthesis, x and x. Factors of 25 will be 5 and 5, and they both have to be positive. And plus 9, double parenthesis, is equal to 9. So y and y, factors of 1 are 1 and 1, and they both have to be positive. I'm going to rewrite it as 1, so it'll be x plus 5 squared plus 9, and y plus 1 squared is equal to 9. Now this is an ellipse. The equation of an ellipse should look something like this. Ellipses and hyperbolas should be equal to 1. So I need to be able to make the 9 and 1, and I'm going to do so by dividing by 9 on both sides, on each term. The 9's cancel, so we just have x plus 5 squared over 9 plus y plus 1 squared, and that will be equal to 1. Some people will place it 1 over, so if we want to graph it, that'll be h and k, negative 5, negative 1. Under the x, there's a 9, so it'll be 3 to the right, 3 to the left. Under the y, there'll be 1, so up 1, down 1, and you can make your ellipse. But for now, we don't have to graph it. We just need to write the equation of an ellipse.